What's going on YouTube? 6'5 Rider here, coming back to you with another video from the 6'5 Garage. This is a different type of video where I'm going to be reviewing a seat. And I feel like it's really hard to review a seat because everybody has like different ergonomics, they have a different weight, different height, and some people are longer in the legs, some people are longer in the torso. So it's a little bit different for everyone, but I'm going to try to target the bigger guys, you know what I mean? Like, sure, I've mentioned it many times, but if you're new to the channel, I'm 6'5" and I weigh about 280 pounds and I'm all legs, man. I have a shorter torso and longer legs, basically. I think I'm about a 35-inch inseam, 36, something like that. Anyway, the whole point of this is that I'm a bigger guy. And as most of you know, motorcycles are not usually geared for bigger guys, especially in their stock form, basically. And so what a lot of people like to do is start off by changing out the seat whenever they get a new bike. So today I'm actually going to compare two sets of seats. They're both made by the same company. They're both really good seats. And you might ask yourself why I have two of them. We'll get into that a little bit later. So let's go ahead and roll the intro and get into this video. So both of these seats are actually made by a company called Pera. They're probably one of the most popular aftermarket Harley Davidson seat manufacturer. And a lot of people out there have their seats and they really boast about them. And I'm one of those people as well. I am a big fan of this company and of the seats that they make. So we'll start off with this guy. This is the Pera Outcast Daddy Long Leg seat. And remember that, Daddy Long Leg. Whenever you hear that, when it comes to Pera, those seats are actually made for bigger guys or taller guys. And basically what that means is they're actually extended about 2 inches further back from the factory setting. So anytime you see the words Daddy Long Legs after a Pera seat, it means that it's just made for a taller person and it's made to have about 2 more inches of room backwards. So let's go ahead and hook the seat up onto the bike. Basically, as you can see here, with the seat, there's a little notch. And that notch goes into this piece over here. So that way it can sit kind of flush on the bike. So we're gonna go ahead and install it right now and make sure to line up the notch in place. And as you can see, once it's lined up, it kind of hooks up to the bike right away. So as you can tell, the seat is super sleek here with the, kind of matches all the lines of the bike, how it kind of goes down and you feel like it sinks just a little bit and then it comes right back up. And one thing you'll notice, this seat looks very similar to another Pera seat, which is the Maverick. The difference between the two is the Outcast is more geared towards the rider of the bike rather than a passenger. The Maverick, which I'll put a picture of here on the screen right now, is basically geared towards the comfort of both rider as well as the passenger. So as you can tell here, there's not much room for a passenger. Like, this is my hand, and you'll see how it's like covering the entire pillion side of the seat. And so this is more for those folks that ride solo most of the time and never really have their partner with them on the bike, because this would not be comfortable for anyone, to be honest, regardless of what size you are. Even if you're a smaller person, this would not be super comfortable. If you're looking for something that's more geared towards a passenger, then that's where you can go for the Maverick, where you can see in the picture here, it's a little bit bigger in the back. So let's go back to the looks of the seat. As you can tell, it's made from a really good material. It's obviously leather, and it's got this really cool material here that's kind of like, when I say it kind of looks like carbon. And as you can tell, I have some carbon fiber here, and it kind of matches that line really nicely. So the seat looks really good, especially for kind of like a solo rider. It's like a really great seat. This is not my primary seat, you guys. I put this on the bike for a little bit, maybe about, I don't know, 1,300 miles on it, 1,400 miles on it. It's a decent seat, it's not bad. However, for me personally, it kind of lacked back support. So let's go ahead really quickly and talk a little bit about dimensions of the seat. Have my trusty little measuring tape. And you can find all this information on their website, but I kind of want to do it like a functional test over here. So to start off, from the tipping point all the way to where, you know, your butt basically ends, the seat measures 18 inches from the bottom over here, not from the top, from the bottom all the way to the front. so about 18 inches. And then from the widest portion of the seat all the way to the other side is about 14 inch. So one really cool thing about this seat is if you're a bigger guy, again, like myself, the width is really important. That way, when you're sitting on the seat, your entire backside is touching all parts of the seat. You don't have, you know, things hanging on the sides, basically. So as I mentioned, I only had the seat on the bike for about 1,000 miles or so, and I decided to kind of move away from it just because one thing that I personally did not like about the seat was the fact that it did not have a lot of back support. I loved the fact that it was wide. However, this portion over here was not too high. And being a bigger guy and a taller guy, I needed something that stuck up a little bit high to get more of that lumbar support, you know, even though it's not hitting all the way to the top. That's kind of where this seat comes in. And I'll just put them together just so you guys can tell kind of how aggressive this portion is. And we'll talk about this seat here in a little bit. So that was one negative for me personally. And one thing I wanted to show you guys is like when I go ahead and sit on the bike, as you can tell, all portions of my backside are basically making contact with the seat, which is nice. That's awesome, you know what I mean? However, one thing that I feel specifically with the seat is that I feel like I'm always sitting on top of the bike rather than in the bike, if that makes any sense. Because one other thing this kind of does compared to the factory seat is actually push you up an inch. And the reasoning behind that is to give you as a bigger person or a taller person more room for your legs down here. One thing that I wanted to do is kind of compare both of these seats and the way that I'm sitting here by, you know, measuring with the Harley Davidson emblem over here where my knee ends up. So this is my normal resting position when I'm riding. And basically, as you can tell, I have, yeah, that's about 2.6 inches. So we'll just remember that number and then we'll talk about it with the next one. So anyway, here's what it looks like when I'm sitting. As you can tell, it kind of lifts me up, and personally, I don't like that because I'm already a bigger guy and I'm tall, and I always have a problem with, you know, the windshields and all the wind hitting me in the face. So I don't want to be like high up. I want to be lower, and I want to have that feeling of being in the bike rather than on the bike. The other thing is what I mentioned over here, where I don't have enough back support or lumbar support. So like whenever I want to adjust myself, sometimes I go up here and it's like, I don't know. There's just like something about it that I don't love. The other negative about the seat, and I don't know if this is something that is a manufacturing defect or if this is meant for a different year Road Glide. I mean, mine is a 2020, and as you guys know, the 2020 has the center console, while the 21s and above don't have the center console. They have their gas caps, one over here, and they have another dummy cap over here. And so without the center console, you don't have this little space here. Let me bring you guys closer and show you. Basically, as you can tell, how this seat kind of sits on top of the carbon fiber piece on top of the little console. And you'll see over here, there's this gap. Like you can see my finger from the other side already here. And this annoys the hell out of me. I'm not sure, again, if this is meant for a newer model. I did buy it aftermarket. I bought it from Facebook Marketplace just because I learned that there are some parts that you buy brand new and some parts that you shouldn't. There's amazing deals out there. This brand new seat is for 500 bucks or 600 bucks. I bought it for like 300, 350. So that part basically annoys the hell out of me, you guys, as far as the seat goes, because I also have a little bit of an OCD when it comes to my bike, or a lot of things I should say. Should ask my wife. But this little gap over here annoys me, especially when I'm, you know, washing the bike or riding in the rain. A lot of water gets in there, which is super annoying. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other seat and install this one on the bike, which is the Pera Kickflip in the Daddy Long Legs configuration. Again, as mentioned, if you're about 6'2", 6'3", and above, always opt in for the Daddy Long Legs configuration because that's really going to give you a lot of room to kind of be able to ride comfortably, especially on these baggers. Motorcycle manufacturers do not make bikes specific to taller riders. So here's the Pera Kickflip. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this seat looks super badass. And dude, it looks so good. I don't know if you guys can tell, but like it completely changes the look of the bike. It makes it look super aggressive. Like you can see the line coming down from the tank, kind of goes down a little bit and then comes boom all the way up. You know, it's a step up seat. A lot of people would be like, oh, that's similar to a Saddleman. However, Saddleman, although they do make longer configurations, dude, they ain't got nothing on Pera when it comes to comfort. And I've heard this from a lot of people that have Saddlemans and switched over to Peras, basically. So I also bought the seat off of Facebook Marketplace. It was a really good deal that I could not pass up. But if it were up to me, I would have probably done the tuck and roll all over the place, because tuck and roll is just that much more comfortable compared to the diamond stitching. So let's go ahead and talk about this seat a little bit more in comparison to the Pera Outcast. Let's start off with passenger. This kind of has that same problem. This seat is geared specifically towards solo riders. I mean, your passenger can probably get on here, but will probably not take a long ride with you. Just because, again, it's not as wide as a seat that's geared for two-up riding. It's definitely wider, however, in the passenger area at least, than the Outcast, but it's still not wide enough for a passenger to enjoy for a long ride. As far as measurements go, we'll start off from here. This is about 17 inches, you know, from the seam over here all the way up to the end of the seat. It's still a daddy long legs. However, it doesn't go as taller. The Outcast actually extends about an inch more than this one. However, I don't know, this works out to be better. Not sure. Anyway, this one is also narrower. This one's 11 inch. As you guys remember, the other one was 14 inches wide. So going back to what I was saying earlier, as far as like having my entire butt make contact with the seat, this one unfortunately doesn't. However, not sure what it is, but this one's more comfortable than the other one. And I really think it's because of this lumbar support back here. So let's go ahead and take a seat on this one. And as you can tell, like I can tell already, I still don't feel like I'm in the bike, but I do feel like I'm more in the bike compared to the Outcast. I still feel like I'm a little bit on top of the bike. I think the difference was that was 2 inches higher versus this one being 1 inch higher than the stock height. So let me go ahead and put my foot up here a little bit, and then we can do that measurement as well to the Harley emblem. I'll put both screenshots of both kind of side to side over here on the screen. What was that one? Like 2.6, I believe. This one's pretty much the same. Exactly 2.6. So as you can tell, like it has the same length as far as the seat goes, but as you can tell over here, the lumbar support is way more aggressive and a little bit higher. So for me, when I'm doing any long distance rides or anything like that, I can always, you know, like lean back over here and kind of, you know, put my butt right on the lumbar support. And it's definitely way more comfortable than the Outcast. This is basically what I look like when I'm riding the bike. This is my comfortable riding position. And you know, bars always make a difference. So my bars have a total rise of about 16 inches, I believe. But yeah, this is what it looks like. And whenever I have my legs over extended on the highway pegs, this is what it looks like. So as you can tell, it's like a super comfortable ride. Sometimes on longer rides as well, I am doing this, where I put my feet on the passenger pegs just to kind of change up the position a little bit. As you can tell, the build quality of the seat is just next to none, you know what I mean? It's really good. One thing I did notice right now when I kind of put it back on, it has a similar issue where you still have a little bit of a gap, but not as much as the other seat. I don't know if you can tell. But it's not that bad. It's not as bad as the other seat. But you see how aggressive that looks? And it makes the bike look like really, really good, you guys. So I've actually been rocking the Pera Kickflip for about 2,500 miles now. It was the seat that I used when I was up in Sturgis. All those rides over there, a couple months before Sturgis, and then when we got back, you know what I mean? And I think this is gonna be my forever seat. I do have a third seat that I'm not gonna compare on this video today. I'm gonna put a different video about it. And I thought that seat was gonna be the one all be all, you know what I mean, the winner. Unfortunately, it wasn't for me at least. It's a really famous seat. A lot of people boast about it in the Road Glide touring forums, basically. But it just wasn't for me. And we'll talk about it in a different video. Little hint, it's bad boys, you know what I mean? That seat. So I'm gonna give you guys some final thoughts over here to kind of reiterate what I was saying. Pera, great company when it comes to motorcycle seats. One thing I forgot to mention about the Outcast is that they have a model with a driver backrest. So you can actually buy the same exact seat, and then it has a little slit up here where you can insert a driver backrest. And so if that's the seat that you guys like as far as width goes, you can buy that specific one and not have to worry about the lumbar support because you got a backrest. Unfortunately, that seat is like $800 maybe with the backrest and stuff, and I'm not trying to spend that much money on a seat because I already did that once with the Bad Boy cycle, which we'll be talking about soon. So final thoughts, the Pera Kickflip is the seat for me. As a bigger guy, as a taller person, again, 6'5", 280 pounds, it's so hard to find a seat that's comfortable. It took me 4 seats, factory, 5 seats, sorry, factory, a Corbin Widowmaker that came with the bike when I bought it, the Bad Boy Cycle seat, the Pera Outcast, and finally the Pera Kickflip. So this was actually the seat for me. And if you're a bigger guy and you kind of have the same ergonomics that I do, I think you're really going to be happy with this seat. I know some dealerships across the country offer seat trials, so make sure to hit up your local dealer before you make a final decision and go and take it, put it on your bike, sit on it, and try to feel out how it feels for you. I'm sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. I haven't done a review like this before because, like I said, seat comfort is very subjective, and I actually spent a couple of weeks trying to think of how to come up with a way to kind of bring you guys how I feel about this seat. But I can tell you, I love it. This is my favorite seat. This is the seat that's staying on the bike. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was insightful to you guys. And if it was, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We are currently at 1,080 subscribers. I had a goal for the year to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of 2024. We're in November now. We got a month and a half to go. And let's make it 1,100. That's the new goal. All right, if you stuck along on the video all the way up till the end, write a little nice comment below. That tells me that you guys watched it and you enjoyed this long form content and that I'm doing a good job. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.